The unexpected arrival. The universe had seen its fair share of wars, alliances, and cosmic events, but nothing could prepare it for humanity's unexpected entrance onto the intergalactic stage. Far beyond the Milky Way, in a galaxy teeming with advanced civilizations, the human race was regarded as a mere curiosity, a young, technologically inferior species with little to offer the grand tapestry of the cosmos. But everything changed when a human fleet appeared on the outskirts of the Xelorian Empire, a civilization renowned for its military might and technological superiority. The Xelorians, an ancient race with aeons of experience in warfare, initially dismissed the humans as another primitive species to be assimilated or eradicated. Their empire spanned hundreds of star systems, each conquered and subjugated through brute force and superior tactics. The arrival of the human fleet was seen as a minor inconvenience, a small skirmish to be handled by a single battle group. But the humans were different. Unlike the Xelorians, who relied on their vast resources and overwhelming numbers, humanity had learned to survive and adapt in the harshest environments. Earth, their home planet, was a place of extremes. Its unpredictable climate, dangerous wildlife, and frequent natural disasters had forged a race of survivors, thinkers, and innovators. The initial encounter between the human fleet and the Xelorian battle group was swift and brutal. The Xelorians, confident in their superiority, unleashed a barrage of plasma torpedoes and laser beams, expecting to obliterate the human ships in a matter of seconds. But the humans, with their smaller, more agile vessels, evaded the onslaught with precision, returning fire with weapons that were not only powerful, but also ingeniously adapted to exploit the weaknesses in Xelorian defenses. What followed was a battle that left the Xelorian commanders baffled. The humans fought with a tenacity and creativity that defied all expectations. Their tactics were unorthodox, their strategies unpredictable, and their resilience unmatched. They deployed drones equipped with advanced AI to confuse and mislead the Xelorian targeting systems, launched surprise attacks from the shadows of asteroid belts, and used the gravity wells of nearby planets to slingshot their ships into the heart of the Xelorian formation. Despite their best efforts, the Xelorians found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned. For the first time in their history, they were forced to retreat from a battle they had been certain they would win. The humans had not only survived the encounter but had inflicted significant damage on one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. The news of the human victory spread like wildfire across the galaxy. For the first time, the other civilizations took notice of this seemingly insignificant species from a distant corner of the universe. The Xelorian Empire, humiliated and enraged, vowed to crush the humans and reclaim their lost honor. But as they would soon discover, humanity was not a foe to be underestimated. The first offensive. With their initial victory, the humans knew they had only bought themselves time. The Xelorians would return with a larger fleet, and this time, they would not make the mistake of underestimating their opponents. Earth's leaders convened in a secret war room deep beneath the surface of the planet, where they discussed their next move. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to think outside the box, to innovate in the face of overwhelming odds. The scientists, engineers, and military strategists who gathered in that room were among the best minds Earth had to offer. They knew that in a direct confrontation, they would eventually be overwhelmed by the sheer numbers and firepower of the Xelorian Empire, but they also knew that victory would not come from brute force. It would come from cunning, strategy, and the ability to adapt. Their plan was simple in its complexity. Knowing that the Xelorians relied heavily on their advanced communication networks and centralized command structure, the humans decided to strike at the heart of their enemy's strength. They would launch a covert operation to disable the Xelorian communication arrays, effectively blinding their fleet and cutting off their command structure. To execute this plan, they needed a team of highly skilled operatives, men and women who could infiltrate deep behind enemy lines, evade detection, and carry out their mission with precision and efficiency. The team, codenamed Phantom, was comprised of the best soldiers, hackers, and engineers from across the human colonies. Their mission was simple: disable the Xilorian communication arrays and return home alive. The Phantom team embarked on their mission with a sense of purpose and determination. They knew the stakes were high, and failure was not an option. After weeks of careful planning and preparation, they set off in a small, cloaked ship, navigating through the treacherous asteroid fields and patrols that guarded the Xilorian homeworld. As they approached their target, the tension in the air was palpable. The Xilorian communication arrays were heavily guarded, surrounded by layers of defense systems and patrols. But the Phantom team was prepared. Using their advanced cloaking technology, they slipped past the defenses undetected and landed on the surface of the Xilorian communication hub. The operation was executed with military precision. The hackers infiltrated the Xilorian systems, bypassing firewalls and security protocols with ease. The engineers planted explosive charges on key infrastructure points, ready to disable the arrays at the push of a button. And the soldiers stood ready, prepared to defend their team with their lives if necessary. As the final preparations were made, the team leader gave the order to detonate the charges. In an instant, the Xilorian communication arrays were reduced to rubble, and the entire Xilorian fleet was plunged into chaos. Cut off from their command structure, the Xilorian ships began to panic, firing at anything that moved and colliding with one another in the confusion. The Phantom team quickly retreated, escaping just as the Xilorian forces began to converge on their position. They returned to Earth as heroes, having successfully crippled the Xilorian Empire's greatest strength. The humans had struck a decisive blow, but they knew the war was far from over. The Xilorians would not take this defeat lightly, and the next battle would be even more brutal. The Siege of Sol. The Xilorian Empire, now aware of humanity's cunning and resourcefulness, launched a full-scale invasion of the Sol system. They brought their largest fleet, armed with the most advanced weapons and technology, determined to crush the humans once and for all. The battle for Earth's survival had begun. Earth's defenses were formidable, but the Xilorian fleet was overwhelming. The skies above Earth were filled with the fire of battle as human ships engaged the enemy in a desperate fight to protect their home. The Xilorians deployed massive dreadnoughts, each capable of leveling entire cities with a single strike. But the humans were not without their own tricks. The human fleet, though outnumbered, was agile and adaptive. They used guerrilla tactics, striking at the Xilorian ships from unexpected angles and retreating before the enemy could respond. They utilized the natural features of the Sol system, its asteroid belts, moons, and gas giants, as cover and ambush points, turning the very environment into a weapon against the invaders. The battle raged on for days, with neither side willing to back down. The Xilorians threw everything they had at the human defenders, but the humans fought back with unmatched ferocity. Every inch of space was contested, every ship was a potential threat, and every moment was a struggle for survival. As the battle intensified, Earth itself became the final battleground. The Xilorians began deploying ground troops, intent on capturing the planet and subjugating its population. But the humans were prepared. Every city, every town, and every village had been fortified. The people of Earth, young and old, took up arms to defend their home. The human spirit, unyielding and defiant, burned brighter than ever. In the end, it was not technology or numbers that won the battle, but the indomitable will of humanity. The Xilorians, faced with an enemy that would not surrender, were forced to retreat. The Siege of Sol had ended in a victory for humanity, but at a great cost. Earth lay in ruins, its cities destroyed, and its people scared by the horrors of war. But they had survived, and in surviving, they had shown the galaxy that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. The counterstrike. With the Xilorians in retreat, humanity seized the opportunity to take the fight to their enemy. The leaders of Earth knew that the Xilorian Empire would not stop until they had either conquered or destroyed humanity. The only way to ensure their survival was to strike at the heart of the Xilorian Empire. The human fleet, now bolstered by new ships and technology, developed in the crucible of war, set out on a daring mission to invade the Xilorian homeworld. The journey was perilous, with the fleet having to navigate through hostile territory and avoid enemy patrols. But the humans were determined, and their resolve was unshakable. The invasion of the Xilorian homeworld was a sight to behold. The human ships descended from the skies like avenging angels, their weapons blazing as they tore through the Xilorian defenses. The Xilorians, caught off guard by the sudden and overwhelming assault, scrambled to mount a defense. But the humans had learned from their previous encounters, and they fought with a precision and ruthlessness that left the Xilorians reeling. On the ground, human soldiers engaged the Xilorian forces in fierce combat. The Xilorians, though technologically superior, were no match for the humans' adaptability and ingenuity. The humans used the terrain to their advantage, setting traps and ambushes that decimated the Xilorian troops. They hacked into the Xilorian systems, turning their own technology against them, and sowed chaos and confusion among the enemy ranks. As the battle raged on, the human forces pushed deeper into the Xilorian capital. They fought their way through the city, street by street, building by building, until they reached the Xilorian palace. There, in the heart of the enemy's territory, the final confrontation took place. The Xilorian emperor, a being of immense power and authority, stood before the human commanders. He offered them a choice: surrender and join the Xilorian Empire as subjugated subjects, or face annihilation. But the humans, defiant to the last, refused. They had come too far, fought too hard, and sacrificed too much to surrender now. In a final, desperate battle, the humans defeated the Xilorian Emperor and seized control of the Xilorian homeworld. The once mighty Xilorian Empire had fallen, and humanity had emerged victorious. The war was over, but the cost had been high. The galaxy had been changed forever, and humanity's place in it was now secure. Rebuilding and reconciliation. The war had left the galaxy in ruins. Entire star systems had been devastated, and billions of lives had been lost. The human race, though victorious, was scared by the horrors of the conflict. But in the aftermath of the war, humanity showed its true strength, not in its ability to destroy, but in its capacity to heal and rebuild. With the Xilorian Empire defeated, humanity set about the task of rebuilding. They reached out to the other civilizations of the galaxy, offering aid and support to those who had suffered in the war. They helped to rebuild cities, restore infrastructure, and provide food and medicine to the needy. In doing so, they won the respect and admiration of the galaxy. But rebuilding was not just about repairing the physical damage. Humanity also sought to reconcile with its former enemies. The Xilorians, once proud and haughty, were now a broken people. Their empire had been shattered, and their society was in disarray. But rather than seeking revenge, the humans extended a hand of friendship. They offered the Xilorians a place in the new galactic order, not as conquerors, but as equals. They helped them to rebuild their cities, restore their culture, and heal the wounds of war. The Xilorians, though initially resistant, eventually accepted the offer. Over time, a new bond was formed between the two species, a bond based not on fear or domination, but on mutual respect and cooperation. The galaxy, once divided by war and hatred, began to heal. The scars of the past would never fully fade, but the future was now filled with hope. Humanity had proven that even in the darkest of times, there was always a path to peace and reconciliation. And in doing so, they had secured their place as a beacon of hope and strength in the galaxy. The dawn of a new era. With the war behind them, humanity looked to the future. The galaxy was a vast and unexplored place, filled with wonders and mysteries waiting to be discovered. The human race, now united and stronger than ever, embarked on a new journey of exploration and discovery. They sent out expeditions to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, seeking out new worlds and new civilizations. They established colonies on distant planets, built space stations in the void, and forged alliances with other species. The galaxy, once a place of danger and uncertainty, was now a place of endless possibilities. But humanity's greatest achievement was not in the conquest of new worlds or the discovery of new technologies. It was in the creation of a new galactic community, a community based on the principles of cooperation, understanding, and mutual respect. The old rivalries and hatreds that had once divided the galaxy were now a thing of the past. In their place was a new era of peace and prosperity, where all species could live and thrive together. The leaders of humanity, now recognized as some of the most influential figures in the galaxy, worked tirelessly to ensure that this new era would last. They established the Galactic Council, a governing body made up of representatives from all the major species. Together, they worked to resolve conflicts, promote trade and cooperation, and ensure the welfare of all sentient beings. The galaxy had entered a new golden age, and humanity was at its forefront. The human race, once a young and insignificant species, had become a force for good in the cosmos. They had shown that even in the face of overwhelming odds, it was possible to overcome, to rebuild, and to create a better future. Legacy of humanity. As the years passed, humanity's influence continued to grow. Their story became legend, told and retold across the galaxy. The tales of their bravery, ingenuity, and resilience inspired countless other species who looked to humanity as a symbol of hope and strength. The Galactic Council, under human leadership, flourished. Peace and prosperity spread across the galaxy, and the old wounds of war began to heal. New generations were born into a galaxy that had never known conflict, where cooperation and understanding were the norm. But humanity did not rest on its laurels. They continued to explore, to innovate, and to push the boundaries of what was possible. They developed new technologies, discovered new worlds, and made new friends among the stars. The galaxy was their playground, and they reveled in the endless possibilities it offered. In the end, humanity's greatest legacy was not in their conquests or their achievements, but in the values they left behind. The principles of cooperation, understanding, and mutual respect that they had championed became the foundation of a new galactic civilization, one that would endure for millennia to come. And so, humanity's story came to a close, not with a final battle or a grand victory, but with a legacy of peace and prosperity that would echo through the ages. The galaxy, once a place of danger and uncertainty, had become a place of hope and possibility. And at the heart of it all was humanity, the indomitable species that had defied the odds and changed the course of history.